hello there. It's Stacy and welcome to my channel. Today we have episode 3 of Snowmen in January 2025, hosted by Nancy from Handi Scandi. I will leave Nancy's information down below along with a link to her channel, so make sure you go over and check her out. This is an open collaboration that anyone can join using the hashtag Snowmen in January 2025. Use it to participate and also to see what others are making. Today I have this cute snowman image of a little family. This was something I found in my stash, much like the one image I used last week for Snowmen in January. It was purchased from a woman who I bought her entire craft room, so I had to look this up. It looks like it's a Northwoods rubber stamp from 2000, and looks like it's illustrated by Arneson or Jean Arneson. And they have some for sale on Etsy, so give it a look if you're interested in this image. What I started with was I was showing you my Sandy Walnut hex chart. I love it. It helps me select my colors. And I'm going to color these guys blue. If you've been to my channel before, you know I like purple for snow and Christmas scenes, but I thought I would show do an image up with blues for those that like blue. And I think this card came out really pretty. What I'm doing here is in real-time coloring. That's what that was. And I was using my lightest color to map out where I wanted my shadows. And I just started with the 1. Usually when I start coloring an image, I start really slow because it takes a second. You know, your markers may lay down a little bit heavier if they're juicier, a little bit lighter if they're a little more on the dry side. So I usually start with a lighter color to map out my shadows and then go from there. And I've sped this up, guys, because this image took a really long time to color, being all these little this little family, which I think is so cute. It's like the mom, the dad, and to me that looks like the grandma, but you can make it however you want. It would be cute if you sent this card out to someone who maybe had an aunt or a grandma or a godmother or whoever. However you wanted to do it. I think it's really cool that this image includes a 4th person for whatever you need to customize it for a family. So I went and I worked from, like I said, I started with my lightest and then went in with my darkest to my lightest. And then I colored up the snowmen, and I'm coloring up the ground and then the snow on those trees. And then I go back in and I believe I'm dotting it. I'm adding little dots because these older vintage, like Prim style stamps, I notice have a lot of black dots in the images for either snowflakes or texture. So I wanted to incorporate that with the Copics. And that marker was pretty juicy, so I took the back cap off of it and took both caps off at the same time, which helps it like level out. I know they're not under pressure, but for whatever reason that does help. And then their little noses. And I use quite a few. I think I use 3 or 4 YR markers. You don't have to use that many. Use 1. You could use 1 color Copic and go back in with colored pencils and do your shading that way. And the Copics allow for a nice even color that you get to work on top of. But today I just colored with the Copics. My last one I did with the Copics or whatever alcohol markers you use, and also colored pencils laying on top. This one I just wanted to use the markers because this image took quite a while to color. I think I couldn't tell you. It's probably 3 hours worth of coloring, but a lot of that was figuring out what colors I wanted, because there's so many accessories. And when you have that many accessories, or at least for me, I want to make the image congruent. I want to make it flow and go together. So I repeat a lot of the colors, but it was trying not to make it super obvious, I suppose. So that's why it took a bit longer, because it took a while to pick out the colors. And then I colored her hat up like a straw hat. And then I'm coloring Mom's little, you know, classic Christmas snow or Santa cap. And then I wanted to bring some of that green over to the other side to go with the grandma's green band. Now this is real time, guys. I'm going to go in and color what I see as the grandma's scarf. And what's taking me a while is I'm deciding where I want those stripes. And there's a reason I slowed this down. I have an oopsie, so that I wanted to show you that you can recover from something, an oopsie. So, and then I'm deciding how I want, I was counting the stripes because I want to see where the stripes line up so that I don't have pink next to pink. And then, and so it took me a little bit. And you'll see here, I color in the one, band of the scarf that's hanging from the bow. And then you'll see me hesitate here because I'm thinking, I'm counting the stripes. I wanted the bottom stripe to end with a pink on that string of scarf. And as I'm sitting there, my ink's pooling in my marker, and that marker was extremely juicy. Do you see what happened? So when I touched down to the paper, that ink just went and spread. It dripped. And you could see me going, you could see the hesitation. So what I did was I took a microfiber towel, blotted up the excess, and thankfully it was a very, very desaturated pale color. And then I took the back cap off, and this is real time. I'm leaving it sit there for just a few seconds, and I decided, well, I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to color the entire scarf pink. So if you have something like this happen, just look at it, evaluate it, see. I mean, if that was red, I may, because I go back in later and I push the color in, but I don't show that here because I want the ink to dry completely before I start pushing it. And if that happens to you, if it's red, you may be able to push it back in depending on how bad it is, or if it's a more saturated color. And you may not, but you can try it. Always try it. I think Christina Werner had one recently where that happened to her. And oh my gosh, you can't even tell that it happened. And it was a more saturated color. But you can push with the colorless blenders, you can push those colors. They don't really blend, they just move them. And so I was doing that, and I put the paper underneath because when I put the colorless blender on there, it was spreading more than it was pushing, because I think underneath that glass mat, it was going through the cardstock onto the glass mat and pulling underneath there. So it was actually pulling with it. And I think in the end, you can't even tell. But like I said, fortunately, it was a super light color. So I'm going in and adding the shading on that scarf. And I wanted to get, spread the colors everywhere. I should have put a little bit of pink on Mom's scarf to pull that pink over to the other side, but I didn't. And then I'm coloring the fur on there and dotting it after I shaded a bit. Now, I didn't realize I didn't have my camera on, and the first two colors that I showed you, the tumbled glass, I believe it is, and then I think that was weathered wood. And the tumbled glass I started with, and I did the weathered wood and brought it in, and I ink blended it, and then I brought the second color in a little bit further, and then I'm taking this, I think it's Blueprint Sketch, is that what that is? Chip Sapphire, excuse me. And I'm just doing the edges because I wanted to darken that up and make it like a vignette. And this was really difficult. I was like, do I want to color the background? Do I want to ink blend? And I decided to ink blend because, for one, it's quicker. That image took so long to color. But I really think that this vignette turned out very pretty, and it tied those blues together. It almost made it look like towards the evening, scene or sky. And my husband was the one who suggested that. He said, why don't you do a night scene? Because I was really struggling with what I wanted to do with that background. So then I took the tumbled glass, my lightest color, and went back over it and worked the blend out. That's an A2 size card base there. And I think I had cut that down with a waffle flower die because originally I was going to leave a border and I was thinking about doing pattern paper in the background. And as I started to work on the card and decided on that blue vignette, that wasn't going to work. So I took this is a Sunny Studios die. I thought I had shown it, but I must have clipped it out. And I realized that even though it's the largest and it's an A2 size frame, it still had the white peeking out because the scallops are, a little bit narrower where they dip in than the actual card base. So I trimmed it with my paper trimmer, but I would have done that. I would have trimmed the card down in advance had I realized that or caught on to that. And then I die cut a bunch of different snowflakes with a Lawn Fawn snowflake die. And I was going to do multiple layers of different colored snowflakes, but I went with the glitter cardstock in white. And if I had planned it out, I would have put those snowflakes down prior to putting the frame down. But I made it work, guys, as you could see. And when I laid that frame down, some of the foam was peeking up a tiny bit on the frame, and that's when you saw me bring in a Copic marker and kind of color the part that was sticking out. I don't know if you guys caught that. And this part took quite a while because I couldn't decide, do I want to bring them in? Do I just want to leave a couple in the corners? And the more I added, the more I liked it, almost like it was framing it, but I felt like the center was a little bare. So then that's why I took some of the smaller images because I didn't want them to take too much away from the coloring that I did. And put some in the center. And it almost looked like the snowflakes were landing on the noses on a couple of them. And my glossy accents is almost empty and it was clogged. So I just used a long pin that I used for sewing to unclog it. And then I realized, well, I'm almost out. So that's what took a while here. But if your glossy accents or anything gets clogged, just get a thin pin and clean, you can clear that out. And so I'm putting that on their noses, and you'll see I use that pin again because the carrot noses get really thin at the end, and the tip for the glossy accents I have is a little too big, so I just use that pin to push it out. You can pop bubbles if you get it gets a little gloopy, you could spread it out with a pin needle. I've done things as small as like icing on a very small image, just using a needle, putting a little bit of gloss accents down and taking that pin and spreading it into the image, picking it up and spreading it out. Probably no one notices but me, but it's the little stuff in our cards that really make the difference, I think. And these little details, they really do pop. They take something from wow to super wow. I don't know, maybe that was kind of cheesy. And then I'm taking their buttons or the little stones, the coals, the rocks on their bellies and putting some glossy accents there. And then I was deciding, do I want to do the grandmas? Because hers are heart shaped. And I decided I wanted to add some glossy accents there. And then I'm putting my gloss accents up, looking at my card, and I realized, wait, I want to do the little berries on Dad's cap. So I went back in and touched those up. And then I have to bring in the sparkles. Now this is dried. I left this setting and the glossy accents had dried. And that was a brand new Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen. And it was super juicy because I squeezed a little too hard and got too much of the glitter out. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And I splattered it. I took the pen, I squeezed it some more, and I splattered it. And it is so pretty. There's all these little sparkles, and some got on the frame, some got on the snowman. And I just loved it. That die is a Hugs die from Lawn Fawn, and I took the same white glitter cardstock that I used for the snowflakes and cut hugs out of, and then I took these thin foam strips and I even cut those down in half because that font is so thin that I wanted it to be popped up the same height as the frame, and then I glued on the parts that were overlapping onto the frame. And then I go in with the last finishing touches, and I wanted to brighten up some of that snow on the tree and on the snowman's hat, because when I ink blended, it got a little more blue than I wanted it to. I wanted that snow to pop out a bit. And then I'm going over the glossy accents, because if I put these highlights on their eyes first and put the glossy accents on top, a lot of times that glossy accents will eat up at the white gel pen, and then it just spreads out in your glossy accents and doesn't show. So I went back in and dotted their eyes, and it will, after it dries enough, it won't rub off. But on the little guy, it wasn't, I didn't dot the white where I liked it, so you saw me wipe that up a couple of times, and then I add them. And once this sits for, I don't know, an hour maybe, if that, it'll dry enough where it won't come off of there. And then here's our little card at the end, you guys. If you like this video, if you enjoy what I'm putting out, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. And I will see you guys next time.